The Making of a Scientist is a story about Richard H. Albright, who grew up in the United States of America. As he did not have much to do there, collecting things was his hobby, and he used to collect butterflies as a child in kindergarten. And we can see later on he just got awarded, or he was awarded for biochemistry and molecular biology. And it was his fascination for butterflies that opened the world of science to him. And now let's read how this curious child who collected butterflies went on to become one of the greatest scientists of the world. The Making of a Scientist. At the age of 22, a former Scout of the Year excited the scientific world with a new theory on how cells work. Richard H. Albright and his college roommate explained the theory in an article in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. It was the first time this important scientific journal had ever published the work of college students. In sports, that would be like making the big leagues at the age of 15 and hitting a home run your first time at bat. For Richard Albright, it was the first in a long string of achievements in science and other fields. And it all started with butterflies. An only child, Albright grew up north of Reading, Pennsylvania. There wasn't much I could do there, he said. I certainly couldn't play football or baseball with a team of one. But there was one thing I could do, collect things. So he did. And did he ever? Beginning in kindergarten, Albright collected butterflies with the same determination that has marked all his activities. He also collected rocks, fossils, and coins. He became an eager astronomer too, sometimes stargazing all night. Richard H. Albright, along with his roommate, surprised the world at the young age of 22 when they explained the theory on how cells work in a paper published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. And this valuable magazine had published the work of college students for the first time in the history. And for Richard Albright, it was one of the many achievements that he has achieved later in his life. He says that all his curiosity started with his love for butterflies. Albright grew up in Pennsylvania, that is a place in the USA, and he was the only child of his parents. And being a single child, he could not have done much, as there were very less people living over there. And he says that he could only do one thing alone, and that is just collecting things, as he has no friends to play football or baseball with. He had begun collecting butterflies, rocks, fossils, and coins from the time when he was in kindergarten. And he also used to keep on staring at the stars, and sometimes the whole night he used to spend like this, as he was interested in studying astronomy as well. From the first, he had a driving curiosity along with a bright mind. He also had a mother who encouraged his interest in learning. She took him on trips, bought him telescopes, microscopes, cameras, mounting materials, and other equipment, and helped him in many other ways. I was his only companion until he started school, his mother said. After that, I would bring home friends for him. But at night, we just did things together. Richie was my whole life after his father died when Richie was in third grade. She and her son spent almost every evening at the dining room table. If he didn't have things to do, I found work for him. Not physical work, but learning things. His mother said. He liked it. He wanted to learn. And learn he did. He earned top grades in school. On everyday things, he was just like every other kid. His mother said. By the time he was in the second grade, Albright had collected all 75 species of butterflies found around his hometown. And we can see that all the species in this box. That probably would have been the end of my butterfly collecting, he said. But then my mother got me a children's book called The Travels of Monarch Tenth. That book, which told how monarch butterflies migrate to Central America, opened the world of science to the eager young collector. Ebright had always been curious to learn new things, and touchwood, he was blessed with a sharp mind. His mother used to encourage him to learn, and she used to take him on learning trips, used to buy him telescopes and other instruments that would help him in learning new things. His mother was his only friend until he went to school. And after he started going to school, his mother would get his friends home. And he and his mother used to stay together at night, and they used to do and learn things together. And we can see here the nickname of Ebright was Richie. And Richie was the whole life for his mother and support system after his father died when he was just in third grade. Richie and his mother used to spend most of the evenings together. And if he did not have anything to do, his mother would find him some task for learning. And he used to like the learning work that his mother used to give him, as that was what he wanted to do. That is, he just wanted to learn more and more about new things. He was such a bright student, and he used to score good marks in classes as well. And he was even regular in his daily task. And by the time he was just in second class, he had collected all the 25 species of butterflies that were found in his neighborhood. And he thought that it would have been the end of his butterfly collection if his mother would have not got him a children's book called The Travels of Monarch Tenth. The book told how the monarch butterflies migrated to Central America, which was a turning point for Ebright as it turned his curiosity towards science. At the end of the book, readers were invited to help study butterfly migrations. They were asked to tag butterflies for research by Dr. Frederick A. Urquhart at the University of Toronto, Canada. Ebright's mother wrote to Dr. Urquhart, and soon Ebright was attaching light adhesive tags to the wings of monarchs. Anyone who found a tag butterfly was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart. The butterfly collecting season around reading lasts 6 weeks in late summer. If you are going to chase them one by one, you won't catch very many. So the next step for Ebright was to raise a flock of butterflies. He would catch a female monarch, take her eggs, and raise them in his basement through their life cycle from egg to caterpillar to pupa to adult butterfly. Then he would tag the butterfly's wings and let them go. For several years, his basement was home to thousands of monarchs in different stages of development. Eventually, I began to lose interest in tagging butterflies. It is tedious and there is not much feedback, Ebright said. And all the time I did it, he laughed. Only 2 butterflies I had tagged were recaptured, and they were not more than 75 miles from where I lived. At the end of the children's book that his mother had gifted him, the readers of the book were invited to help the study of butterfly migrations. And they were asked to tag butterflies by Dr. Frederick A. Urquhart. And he was a professor in the University of Toronto in Canada. And Richie's mother wrote to the doctor, and soon he was attaching adhesive tags to the wings of the butterflies. The person who would find a butterfly with a tag was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart. The butterfly collecting season lasted for around 6 weeks. Then Ebright understood that if he kept on collecting butterflies one by one, he would not be able to collect many. So the next step he took was that he decided to raise a flock of butterflies in his basement. And he used to catch a female butterfly, collect its eggs, and raise them in his basement through their proper life cycles. Then he used to tag the wings of the butterflies and would let them go. There were thousands of monarchs in his basement, growing in different stages of life, and it was so many years. Soon he started losing interest in tagging butterflies as it was a very slow and tiring process. And it also did not get him much attention. He said that out of the many butterflies that he tagged, only two could be recaptured by people, and those two were not more than 75 miles away from where he lived.